Have you ever felt like your worth in a relationship depends on how much someone else desired you? Or shaped yourself into what you thought a partner wanted, sacrificing parts of who you are just to keep them interested? What if I told you that this feeling, this deep-seated belief that love must be earned, what we now call the pick-me mentality, has been playing out in relationships since the dawn of time? In fact, the ancient Greeks wrote an entire myth about it. And today, we're going to explore this powerful story from mythology that reveals just how dangerous overgiving can be and how to lift yourself out of the pick-me mentality. My name is Aaron Soul, and I'm the founder of Alchemy. I'm a relationship coach and spiritual counselor. For the past 25 years, I've been passionate about helping people connect better to themselves and to others. You can check the description for more info and for the lists of reflection questions and action steps that I mention later on in this video. Now, seeking validation and mistaking the feeling of being wanted for the experience of being truly valued has led countless people astray. And no story illustrates this better than the one we're about to explore. But before we dive in, imagine for a second if love didn't have to feel like a constant performance. What if instead of proving your worth, you could step into a love where you are already enough and where deep enjoyment, a pleasurable connection to your own body and the fulfillment of your desires were key? Imagine a love where you never feel like you have to prove yourself, where you are cherished simply for being who you are. A relationship where you don't anxiously seek reassurance because you know you are valued. Imagine a love that isn't based on fleeting validation, but on deep, unshakable trust and connection. This isn't a fantasy. It's possible. And the gap between these two experiences is what we're here to bridge. But before we explore how to break free and bridge the gap between being a pick-me person and being truly valued for who you are, please take 2 seconds to subscribe to this channel and help us reach more people. From there, we'll move forward into the retelling of the legend to look at one of the oldest cautionary tales about seeking validation in love, the story of Ariadne and Theseus. Ariadne was the daughter of King Minos of Crete. Her family's palace housed the infamous labyrinth, a vast maze built to contain the Minotaur, a monstrous creature who was half bull, half man. Every 9 years, King Minos, as a punishment to Athens, forced them to send 14 young people to be sacrificed to the Minotaur. But then, the final time this sacrifice was demanded, Theseus, Prince of Athens, volunteered to be sacrificed, secretly planning to kill the Minotaur. When Theseus arrived in Crete, Ariadne, the king's daughter, saw him and was instantly in love. He was brave, determined, and full of strength, everything she admired. And being in love with him, she decided to help him. Ariadne gave Theseus a ball of thread, instructing him to unravel it as he entered the labyrinth. This way, he could find his way back after killing the Minotaur. Theseus succeeded. He killed the creature, escaped the labyrinth, and fled to Crete with Ariadne by his side. But Ariadne's joy was short-lived. During their journey back to Athens, they stopped on the island of Naxos, and while Ariadne slept, Theseus abandoned her on the island and continued his travels back to Athens without her. Ariadne found herself alone, devastated and heartbroken, facing the harsh reality of betrayal and abandonment. Her story doesn't end there, though. On Naxos, she was discovered by Dionysus, the god of wine and pleasure, who saw her grief, took pity on her, and then fell in love with her, not because of what she could do for him, but for who she was. Dionysus made her his queen, helping her transform from a forsaken princess into a powerful and fulfilled sovereign. This union symbolizes Ariadne's transformation from dependence to empowerment. The union with Dionysus represents Ariadne's ability to find joy and pleasure within herself, not from overgiving or identifying with someone more powerful, but from embracing embodiment and the true joys of being alive. But before we dive too deeply into that, let's explore what overgiving and being a pick-me person really means. Ariadne's initial feelings for Theseus were not rooted in true love, but in admiration and infatuation. She was a young princess, isolated in her own world, and Theseus represented everything she admired: bravery, strength, and heroism. However, her admiration was one-sided and unbalanced. She idolized Theseus without truly understanding or knowing herself. This dynamic is common in relationships where one person becomes infatuated with another, mistaking admiration or the desire to be validated and taken care of for genuine love. In modern terms, Ariadne's behavior can be likened to the pick-me mentality, where a person tries to secure love or approval by giving too much of themselves. This often stems from a lack of self-awareness or self-worth, where the individual believes that by giving and sacrificing they'll be rewarded with love and validation. But this kind of giving is usually unreciprocated and can lead to feelings of abandonment and betrayal when the other person doesn't meet expectations, just like what happened to Ariadne. In our story, the thread that Ariadne gave to Theseus can be seen as a metaphor for the way she gave away her power and autonomy. By giving Theseus the thread, she not only helped him find his way out of the labyrinth, but also symbolically tied herself to him, allowing him to lead her and dictate her sense of worth. This dynamic can also occur when there's a significant imbalance in life experience between partners. Much like the young and inexperienced Ariadne in her relationship with the older, more experienced Theseus. In these situations, the less experienced partner may become overly dependent on the other, allowing them to take the lead in ways that can diminish their sense of agency and identity. This dynamic also happens when one person needs help to overcome a life challenge. The savior partner believes that if they help the other, the debt they will have will bind them together. But debt and guilt, of course, are not a healthy foundation for being in a romantic relationship. No matter how much a partner gives or takes care of another, it will never be a source of authentic love and balanced connection. This kind of relationship can lead to abandonment in one of two ways. First, as the less experienced or pick-me partner matures and gains more confidence and self-awareness, they may begin to realize how much power they have given away. This realization can lead to feelings of resentment or a desire to reclaim their autonomy, which may ultimately result in them leaving the relationship. In the second scenario, the more experienced or desired partner may become frustrated and even bored over time, feeling that the relationship lacks equality and mutual support they desire. As they grow weary of always being the leader or the more knowledgeable one, they may seek a more equal partner who can match them in experience and emotional maturity, leading to the abandonment of the less experienced partner. This is what Theseus did to Ariadne. Ariadne's story highlights the dangers of sacrificing your needs and desires in an attempt to secure love and approval from another. This pattern is often rooted in a fear of abandonment and a lack of self-worth. The giving partner may believe that by continuously offering more of themselves, they can earn the love and commitment they desire. Healing from these unconscious beliefs and from the kind of betrayal Ariadne experienced involves recognizing your own value. More than that, however, a new relationship must be developed with pleasure, sensuality, and the joy of life in general. In the story, this is symbolized by Ariadne's new marriage to Dionysus, the god of wine, pleasure, and sensual joy. In the next section, we'll dive into that. But first, take a moment to reflect on these questions. 1. Was there ever a time when you idolized someone in a relationship? How did this affect your sense of self-worth and the balance of the relationship? What did you learn from the experience? 2. Consider a time when your expectations in a relationship weren't met. How did you cope with the disappointment? And what have you learned about setting and communicating expectations more clearly? Theseus's abandonment of Ariadne on the island while she slept is a powerful metaphor for the consequences of losing oneself in a relationship. Ariadne's sleep represents her unconsciousness, her lack of awareness of how much she had sacrificed and how little she was receiving in return. When Theseus left her, it was a harsh wake-up call, forcing her to confront the reality of her situation. In modern relationships, this kind of abandonment can happen when one person gives so much that they lose themselves in the process. They may be blind to the fact that their partner isn't reciprocating, and when the relationship ends, they are left feeling empty, isolated, and alone. The island where Theseus leaves Ariadne symbolizes this isolation, an emotional desert where there is no one to give back to the person who has given so much. However, this moment of abandonment also marks the beginning of Ariadne's transformation. It is through her grief and solitude that she begins to wake up, to become aware of her own needs, and to start the journey towards self-empowerment. Ariadne's encounter with Dionysus represents the turning point in her own story. But it is more than just meeting a new lover. Symbolically, finding Dionysus is about Ariadne embracing the parts of herself that are Dionysian in nature, those aspects of her personality that she may have neglected or suppressed while focusing on Theseus. Dionysus, the god of pleasure, revelry, and the enjoyment of life, represents a different way of being, one that is connected to joy, spontaneity, and the acceptance of life's pleasures. By embracing Dionysus, Ariadne is, in essence, embracing these qualities within herself. This connection allows her to heal from the pain of abandonment and discover the joy and fulfillment that comes from living fully and authentically. She learns to enjoy life's pleasures, to receive as much as she gives, and to find power in her ability to embrace both the light and dark aspects of her nature. This transformation from a self-sacrificing, naive princess to a mature, empowered queen is a powerful metaphor for the journey of self-discovery and empowerment that every pick-me person has to go through, whether male or female. Ariadne's story teaches us that true fulfillment comes not from giving endlessly to others, but from finding balance, being able to give and receive, to enjoy life, and to embrace one's own power. In modern relationships, this transformation is essential for moving from an unhealthy, unbalanced dynamic to the fulfilling and reciprocal one. It involves letting go of the need to be validated by others and instead finding joy and fulfillment within oneself. Only then can one truly enter into a relationship where both partners give and receive in a balanced way. Ariadne's true transformation occurs when she embraces the energy of Dionysus, an energy that is rooted in the physicality and sensuality of life. When Ariadne unites with Dionysus, she moves beyond the self-sacrificing mentality that once defined her and steps into a new role as a queen who knows how to receive and enjoy life's pleasures. This union with Dionysus symbolizes the empowerment that comes from embracing life fully, without guilt or the need to constantly give without receiving. It's about finding joy in the present moment and allowing oneself to experience pleasure and even rapture without reservation. For those who identify with the pick-me mentality, regardless of gender, this transformation is crucial. Learning to immerse oneself in the pleasures of life and to genuinely receive without feeling guilty is the medicine that can heal the wounds of overgiving and self-sacrifice. Now take a minute to reflect on these questions. 1. How can you embrace pleasure and joy in your life without guilt or reservation? What steps can you take to balance giving and receiving in your relationships, leading to greater empowerment? 2. Think about a time when you transformed a difficult or painful experience into a source of personal growth. How did embracing joy and pleasure help you in this process? Overgiving in relationships can manifest in various ways, often leading to an imbalance where one partner's needs and well-being are neglected. Here are some common signs of overgiving or pick-me behavior. 1. Sacrificing personal needs. Continuously putting your partner's needs above your own, often to the point of neglecting your well-being or responsibilities. 2. Seeking validation through giving, Feeling that you need to give excessively in order to be loved or appreciated, using unreciprocated acts of service as a way to prove your worth. 3. Fear of rejection. Overgiving as a way to avoid rejection, believing that if you give enough, your partner will stay with you. 4. Difficulty saying no. Struggling to set boundaries or say no to your partner, even when you're overwhelmed or uncomfortable saying yes. 5. Feeling unappreciated. Often feeling that your efforts aren't recognized or appreciated by your partner, yet continuing to give in hopes of eventually being acknowledged. 6. Over-responsibility for your partner's happiness. Taking on the responsibility of making your partner happy, believing it's your duty to fulfill their every need and desire, and that if they aren't happy, they won't want you anymore. 7. Insecurity about the relationship. Constantly worrying that you're not enough or that your partner might leave, leading you to overcompensate through giving. 8. Neglecting your personal growth. Focusing so much on your partner's needs and desires that you neglect your own growth, goals, and passions. These behaviors, while sometimes subtle, can significantly impact the health of a relationship if not addressed. Overgiving or pick-me behavior often stems from deep-seated insecurities and fear. Here are some common reasons why people fall into the pattern of overgiving in relationships. 1. Low self-esteem. Individuals with low self-esteem may feel that they need to earn love and affection by giving excessively, believing that they are not inherently worthy of love. 2. Fear of abandonment. The fear of being abandoned can drive a person to give more than they should, hoping that their partner will stay with them out of gratitude or dependency. 3. Anxious attachment style. Individuals with an anxious attachment style may overgive as a way to secure their partner's affection and avoid the anxiety they feel when the relationship feels unstable. This attachment style often develops from early experiences of inconsistency in caregiving, leading to a deep-seated fear of rejection and a tendency to cling to relationships. 4. Past experiences of rejection. Those who have experienced rejection or abandonment in the past may overgive in an attempt to avoid repeating those painful experiences. 5. Desire for control. Overgiving can sometimes be a way to exert control over a relationship, believing that if they do everything right, their partner will have no reason to leave. 6. Cultural conditioning. Some people are raised to believe that their worth is tied to their ability to care for others, leading them to adopt overgiving behaviors in their relationships. 7. Need for external validation. A strong need for external validation can drive overgiving as individuals seek to prove their worth through acts of service and sacrifice. 8. Not knowing yourself. A lack of self-awareness about what truly brings you joy and pleasure can lead to overgiving. When individuals are disconnected from their own needs and desires, they may overcompensate by focusing excessively on pleasing the partner, hoping that external approval will fill the void. Understanding your own source of joy and fulfillment is crucial to maintaining balanced, healthy relationships. Now let's move into the action steps you can take to help you move from an overgiving prince or princess to a sovereign queen or king. In this brief closing section, I'll offer you 3 action steps that you can take from here. If you'd like to see more, a full list of actions and reflection prompts is in the description. In addition to the action steps and prompts, I also highly recommend practicing the guided visualization for this lesson. It is pre-recorded and available in this playlist. The visualization helps you change yourself at the unconscious level, helping you develop new automated thoughts and processes that help you build healthier and more reciprocal relationships. Here are the 3 action steps you can take this week. 1. Establish healthy balance. Identify a relationship where you may still be giving too much. Take a step to set small boundaries or prioritize your own needs, even in small ways. 2. Write a letter for closure. Write a letter to someone who abandoned you or let you down, expressing your feelings fully in the letter. Anger, rage, sadness, grief, all of it. You don't need to send it. This is for your own healing. 3. Create a pleasure ritual. Establish a small daily practice that brings you joy and personal pleasure. It can be any small thing as long as it is completely focused on you. Like Ariadne, many people fall into the trap of idealizing their partner, hoping their sacrifices will secure love in return. But now, you have the awareness to shift this pattern. Real love isn't about proving yourself, constantly giving, or hoping to be chosen. It's about standing in your own power, knowing your worth, and embracing joy without needing external validation. When you release the need to be picked and instead focus on fully embodying your authentic self and the personal joy of your life, you open the door to relationships that are deeply fulfilling, reciprocal, and empowering. Remember to check out the description for the list of questions and action steps. And if you resonate, please like and subscribe. It helps us reach more people. Thank you.